What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 156. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 9011, and today we're flying solo, kind of planning ahead for the holidays and the holiday break, just so you guys still get content every week. So yeah, hope everybody's doing well. If you want to catch this podcast live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat, join on the conversation. We'd love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Drops over on YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and puts one big video and MP3 for you on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you guys can support, whether it's the merch store, leaving a review, a comment, sharing the podcast with somebody you think would enjoy it. It does mean a lot, even if it does seem small. Helps us grow, helps this thing get bigger, and, just gets it to more people's eyes and ears and whatnot. Today, what are we talking about? We're talking about Disney. Whole lot of Disney today. For those of you guys who don't know, coming up in the next year, March, we are going to be taking a Disney trip, going down to Disney World in Florida for the first time in quite some time, and just kind of wanted to gush about it a little bit, talk about what I'm excited for, some things that are different and have changed since the last time I was there, and chat about that for a bit. So once again, we're going in March, and we got a decent trip planned. I think we got about a 10-day stay or trip in total, something like that. We're going to Disney World. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first time we're going, myself and my mom. So it'll be the four of us on this trip. It'll be myself, my mom, my aunt, and then Lady is going to be going. And this is Lady's first trip going to Disney World, which is a whole nother excitement level, because obviously sharing this experience with her, kind of showing her the ins and outs, or at least sharing that trip and the worlds and the lands and the parks and the rides and everything with her, and seeing her kind of absorb it for the first time. We went on a very quick trip over to Disneyland in California, the two of us, but that was just a one-day excursion, and that was fun. But even with California being limited to only the two parks that you can literally walk across the street and get to either of them, Florida's obviously a whole nother beast. And even with the closeness of California's parks, one day's not enough. You can fit a lot of it in one day for sure, but we got most of the things we wanted to hit in the Magic Kingdom. Well, I guess that's not the Magic Kingdom, the Disneyland area when we were out in California. But then California Adventure, unfortunately, kind of fell by the wayside when we did eventually go over there later in the day. We didn't get to do a lot over there when we did go. So with this trip, obviously, once again, her first experience with that, I'm looking forward to seeing how she likes everything, but also with the freedom of more time over there should be a better experience, or at least like an additive to it, just because we won't have to rush and we'll have multiple days for the four parks that are there. I think currently the plan is to hit each of them 2 days, and then I think we do have one more extra day where we're going to Magic Kingdom, just because there's so much to do there. So it'd be nice to have that flexibility, and once again that freedom to not feel super rushed with what is there comparatively, obviously, to the other trip. So sorry, I know I'm jumping around. So we do have that first experience, at least Lady and I, over in land, but this will be her first experience in World. This is the first time I'm going to World in 6 years? Yeah, 7 years. 2015 was the last time I was over there. And growing up, my family, we kind of went roughly every 5 years, I want to say, so a little bit longer of a gap this time, and I'm just really looking forward to it. There's a lot that has changed in the parks since that last trip. For example, Animal Kingdom now has their Avatar area. The Magic Kingdom has added Tron. That's a more recent addition, but they added that. And then Hollywood Studios has added both their Toy Story Land as well as the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, I've experienced Galaxy's Edge over in California, but I'm looking forward to obviously experiencing Florida's version. And then at the time when I had gone to California, they did not have the Rise of the Resistance ride even built yet or like finished. So I'm looking forward to experiencing those new things. So a lot of new things to kind of tackle. So I guess that would be one of the things that I'm just looking forward to in the trip, is obviously experiencing new stuff. But then, there's the nostalgia of the old stuff, kind of going on the dark rides, or the kid rides, as I like to call them, as storybook rides, experiencing those, because it's just, once again, it's a nostalgia trip, and it's fun. They are shorter rides, but like, if you have the connection to Disney like I do, and a lot of other people do who obviously go to the parks, it just, even though it's not the longest thing, it's like, it just brings the joy out of you. It's that inner child and like memories and all that jazz. So looking forward to that. But yeah, just wanted to talk about, I guess, what are the biggest things I'm looking forward to experiencing in this trip. Number one, as I already alluded to, sharing this experience with Lady, being her first time there, and then kind of like the ambassador-esque type sharing the experience with her. Seeing that is going to be great. So that would be number one. And then from there, I guess number two, we'll talk about the rides. What rides am I looking forward to the most with this trip? Splash Mountain was going to be one of them. I know there was talks a while ago of going through refurbishment, obviously with, Song of the South not being the best representation of certain things. I mean, not that the ride Splash Mountain was bad in any way, but obviously the source material where the characters had come from, they decided to change it. Totally understand, kind of modernize it, or at least adjust it to a different property. So they're going to be doing that with Princess and the Frog. We're hoping to ride Splash Mountain one more time in its original build before it changed, but unfortunately, the time we were out there will have already started its refurbishment process and changing over to was it Princess and the Frog? I almost said Frog Princess. Getting that overlay, getting that changed. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. I've ridden it many times. It would have been nice to have that to share with the lady, just to be like, oh, this is what it is. But, I mean, the ride is probably, track-wise, all staying the same. It's just going to be a matter of the insides and the animatronics and whatever effects they decide to add to that ride that will maintain or will be different, but the other aspects of it will stay the same. They'll probably update the outside as well, but we'll be at least to get able, Jesus Christ, we will be able to see the outside and the tree. So she'll experience it that way, but we won't be able to do that one. Another one that I was looking forward to, but I don't think will be open, will be Rock and Roller Coaster. Apparently that's going to be going through refurbishments too, for a 6-month hiatus. That's really shitty, because I was really looking forward to that one. There's rumors of it around it for a while, and it could have just been all hearsay during pandemic that like it was closing down or they weren't going to reopen it, and it did, and then now it's going through the refurbishment, which it's not changing anything, at least from what I've seen. It's just, maintenance stuff, and I'm not sure we could dive into this whole other side topic if this is a Chapek and Iger thing, if like Chapek just wasn't maintaining certain things. I don't know. The timing is just very convenient that we're starting all this work on these rides as soon as Iger's back into control, but that's a whole different conversation. So yeah, unfortunate that it doesn't seem that ride will be operational when we're out there. That one's a blast, a lot of fun. I don't think that would have been one lady was going to go on. She's not a big coaster fan. She's kind of like dipping her toe into it, and that would have been definitely a big test with the launch, and then obviously the inversions in there. But yeah, that's obviously probably Disney's most, not high risk, what's the high thrill rides, high risk, Jesus, high thrill rides especially at World with the inversion. I know California Adventure has, the Paradise Pier one that's the Incredicoaster now, which I haven't gone on the Incredicoaster version, but the previous version that has the inversion there. But not being able to go on that will be a little bit of a bummer. So yeah, those will be the ones that are closed. I guess I have one more to talk about that's like a potential that will be closed. And God, I hope it is still not at this point. Tron. Please, for the love of God, Tron be open. Now, I've seen some postings saying like April it's going to be open, which obviously does not fit our trip window in the beginning of March. I believe March 10th is when we get there. Hopefully it opens a little earlier, or I've alluded to this on a past podcast topic when we talked about Disney. When Pirates of the Caribbean went through its refurbishment, adding Johnny Depp and all the Jack Sparrows into the ride, along with some other effects. The opening week, I didn't even know. I don't think any of us knew. The opening week was when we were on that trip. And a few days before, they were letting people ride it. And we only found out through another park attendee, and we were able to ride it before opening day, and then we avoided it opening day because that line was humongous. I don't know if they'll have the same experience for Tron when it's going. That's a little bit harder to kind of keep under wraps that people are riding it. At least Pirates, it's all in the building, so like you're not going to hear people scream or see them on the boat. In World, I know, California has a little bit more of an open ride system comparatively, but yeah, Tron, with it being out in the open, at least going by Toontown and like the merry-go-rounds and stuff like that one part, like testing I could get, but if you physically see people on it, you're going to be a little bit more intrigued. So I don't know the likelihood of that. If the rumor or if the postings are true and it is April, that's going to be very unfortunate, just timing wise, that it's just out of the range. But maybe, once again, the Iger Chapek thing, I don't know, because they've been working on this ride forever, it seems, at least a couple years. I know that was through pandemic, so that's a whole nother bag to open on like supply chain and all that jazz. But they've tested it. Like, I know if they've ridden it, or people have in the work there, geez. So maybe by that time it'll be open. I hope it is. This obviously being a transfer from Tokyo Disney, I believe. Just another coaster. Looks like a fun experience. Would love to try it out, but we'll see if the window moves forward or something by the time we get out there. So let's talk about stuff that is open, that's definite. At least of right now as recording, that I'm looking forward to experiencing. And I think number one, I've talked about this on another podcast. I think it was back when Joe was on talking about his stream and stuff like that, is Rise of the Resistance. I alluded to it earlier with California. They didn't have it open at either location at that time when it had gone. But this ride looks intense. And intense from like an experience, like immersion standpoint. I've watched a lot of ride-throughs, I'm not going to lie there, so like I'm not going to be fully surprised at anything. But just, I think, getting, once again, immersed in that world, in the situation and the scenery that they've provided is going to be insane. Obviously, like pictures can only do so much, videos can only do so much. I think once I've experienced that, gone through the little transport into, the big Star Destroyer with all those stormtroopers, animatronics and whatnot, that's gonna be just insane. So very much looking forward to the whole experience of Rise of the Resistance and experiencing that firsthand. And I think the rollout of like how they do the groups, if they're still doing groups at this time or if it's just a regular queue, I think that's been better than what it usually is or was in the past. So hopefully it's a smooth transition onto that ride, especially with newer rides launching post that. I don't know if the excitement level per se has gone down, but maybe the traffic's not as there as it's going to other things. Well, who knows? So yeah, Rise of the Resistance is up there just to experience that firsthand. And speaking to Big John about it, like he's like, dude, you need to go on this ride. So very much looking forward to that, Rise of the Resistance. Another one, if we want to stay kind of on the, I guess not external IP, but because they bought them, but the space stuff. More, I think this might be their newest ride, is the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Cosmic Rewind. Very much looking forward to this in Epcot, which, Epcot, in my opinion, a very lax park. Not in a bad way. It's just, the appeal of the park there is the World Showcase. You're walking around, you're trying the foods, if that's your thing. Not particularly up my alley, not the most adventurous when it comes to the culinary arts, but, it's experiencing that. Once again, the kind of the immersion, the architecture they put there, the cultures and stuff like that. That's the big draw of that park. There are obviously some attractions there, whether it's Figment and Imagination, there's Soarin', there's Mission Space if you want to hurl your lunch 8 times, and Test Track, which is amazing. There are experiences there, but the big draw is, I would say, the World Showcase. And now with Cosmic Rewind there, that's a big draw for me personally. Once again, it's another coaster. It's a little more high thrill. I'm interested to see what that is like. And this is another one. I've seen the queue and experienced that through video form and whatever, and it looks cool, but obviously the ride experience, similar to Space Mountain, most of it is in the dark or you're looking at screens from time to time. So I have no idea how this ride truly pans out. I know the way the carts move or your seats, they do have a pivot to them for certain elements where, like, this is where we want you to look, or this is how we're transferring you for the backward of the launch hill. It's not like you're free going like a Disneyland California with the freaking what's his name? Not Roger. Is it Roger Rabbit? Yeah, the where you're spinning like a crazy person, or the teacups. This one, it's more controlled spinning. So I'm interested to see how I experience that. I know some people have been like, ooh, motion sickness on it. I've never personally had issues with that unless it's a lot of spinning in that free formness. So I'm interested to experience this. Obviously, being a big Marvel fan, also just diving into more of the Guardians stuff. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully, once again, the boarding process or whatever group thing they're doing isn't insane. I already have it planned out. Like, okay, this is the time I need to get up, and being the only one in the party or the group that's going that wants to go on the ride might be a little easier. I don't know what the single rider line situation is, but obviously if that is an option, then bada bing, bada boom, no problem there. So yeah, Cosmic Rewind looks like a lot of fun. Definitely excited for that. And then what other big ones? Okay, it's not a new one, but Everest. Everest is just fantastic. I'm looking forward to going on Everest. I think that might be if it's not my favorite ride, it's one of my top rides in Disney World. Not the fanciest of coasters, but just the setting and the story that they put you in without giving you like, hey, watch this video, a narrative for, a minute or two. Like, just the world building that they do themselves, and even along the ride as you're going along of, wait, something's wrong, oh, there's trouble, blah, 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 the big reveal at the end. It's a fun ride. It checks all the boxes. This is one I think Lady's going to try, and I'm excited to experience, once again, that with her for the first time and see how she likes it. Hopefully she does, because that would be kind of a bummer if, she tries it and then migraine or doesn't feel well. But yeah, Everest is just one of my favorites, so looking forward to riding that over and over and over again. If we're talking about other new stuff, might not hit the top of the list, but, I want to try and hit all of the new stuff. You got the Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, you got the Frozen Ever After, which are probably more chill experiences, but looking forward to trying those out. The Slinky Dog Coaster, sure, why not? Man, I had something else in my head and I'm blanking. Avatar. The Navi River Adventure looks very, very chill. Probably going to be awesome to see that animatronic in motion and in person. See how lifelike it is, especially with the recent movie dropping. And then it's not the River Adventure, but the other Avatar ride, the projector, similar to Soarin', riding on top of the dragon type thing. I'm looking forward to experiencing that. I really enjoyed Soarin', and it's very chill. But with the simulator, this is going to be another one. I'll probably be the only one to go on it in the group. But I've heard really cool things about that one as well. Just have, like, once again, the immersion, obviously, with the whole simulation part. But, like, whatever you're sitting on to simulate the dragon and how it feels like it's breathing and, like, living and stuff, very intrigued. I'm not the biggest Avatar fan. I thought the movie was good. And obviously, technically, it looks amazing. But I'm interested to see what this ride does for me from a fan perspective of, like, does this win me over? Does it make me more of a fan? And then obviously, as a ride, do I just get lost in it and, like, oh my God, I gotta ride it again and again kind of thing. So we'll have to see there. Trying to think if there's any other new stuff that they've added that I might have forgotten to talk about. I mean, there's a few other, like, small new shows or, you know, parades or anything. And I don't think the parades or the fireworks or anything I'm going to particularly kind of, like, stand and wait for or, like, watch. I'll watch them in passing for sure. But I think my thing will be more rides and going to that stuff. Yeah, I think that's all the new stuff. As for once again, more stuff, I feel like I'm jumbling around, and I'm sorry about that. The stuff that's already been established that I'm looking forward to just kind of re-experiencing. Space Mountain's fun. Big Thunder's fun. Haunted Mansion is spooky, but a good time. Nice and chill. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, the laser tag thing, along with Midway Madness and Hollywood. Test Track I already talked about. That one's a lot of fun. Just experiencing that, and then the fun mini game of building a car. And then I think with this trip, just because, well, for two factors. Because it's been so long, or at least, 7 years since our last trip. And then the freedom of time. I think this is one I really want to try. Now, granted, everyone says this. I want to hit everything. And what I mean by that is I think there's even some things where, it might not make the top of my list of, like, I need to do that or I want to hit that. But if there's time, and there should be time, because, well, with the trip length, I kind of want to just do anything and everything. Like Jungle Cruise. Hilarious is maybe a stretch. But a fun ride, you got the gimmicks, you got the dad jokes, you got the puns and all that stuff. That's going to be, one that wouldn't be on the top of the list, but I think with the length of time away from this trip and the length of time we have, like, that's something that, yeah, I want to hit that. Same with Muppets 3D. I haven't seen that since, oh boy, that wasn't last trip, that was the trip before. Like, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I want to see that again. Re-experience that. Maybe do Barnstormer, maybe do fucking, I don't know. Like, these random things that are good rides and good experiences. Just like, once again, it wouldn't hit necessarily, I guess, the top of need to do lists if I was just there for a day, comparatively, kind of thing. I'm looking forward to experiencing more, and that's another thing, I guess, that will kind of lead to the third point, if we're circling back to points, after rides, is like, I'm looking forward to experiencing more of just the parks themselves and, like, exploring. Once again, with the freedom of time, I feel like this is going to be a way to kind of, I don't know, take our time. And, like, growing up and with the trips previously, it never felt like we were rushed or anything. And it never felt like a situation where we weren't able to do what we wanted to do. Just as, like, an adult experiencing it and knowing more about the parks from watching, like, videos from Tim Tracker or listening to podcasts like Addicted to the Mouse or whatever. Just kind of taking it all in as an adult and just slowing down and really absorbing everything. Obviously, the storefronts is all merch, but, like, how things look and are designed and how they're, laid out, or the food stuff. Like, obviously, as a kid, like, well, you only have so much money, and you're probably going to use that on, the souvenirs and whatnot, which we still will. Don't worry about that. But, like, okay, it'll be a little bit more open to trying things, and it could be something stupid as like a Mickey pretzel, or cookie or sweet, or like when you're in Epcot, oh, maybe I'll try this thing or whatever it is. Just having that mentality of like, yeah, obviously there's things we want to do, and once again, previous trips, it never felt rushed, it never felt bad or anything like that, but having that mindset of like, it's vacation, don't worry about it. As an adult, from an adult perspective, just take it in. Just take anything and everything in. So from the rides, which we'll do, and we definitely want to do, and whatever, but just everything in between too. Don't feel like it has to be point to point to point to point to point to point to point. And once again, not that the other trips felt this way, just from a kid's perspective, you're just kind of along for the ride. And yeah, the rides are the fun part. You don't want to wait in line and everything like that. But it was never bad. Just from an adult perspective of like, don't feel like it's a big checklist, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that's something I just struggle with in general in my later age. Oh God. And looking out for the group here with the other three, it's just like, I want to make sure they have a good time. But just remember, it's not all about just those experiences and the rides. It's about everything. So just making sure, keep that control, I guess, keep that level-headedness, and then, yeah, just take advantage of the time that we do have and the in-betweens and whatever. Just try and make it fun. Try and soak it in. So, yeah, very much looking forward to the trip coming up. Now that the new year is upon us, it's like, obviously, it's getting closer and closer, but the excitement is building more and more. It's not this trip that's out in the far horizon of like, yeah, we're doing that. No, it feels like it's going to be here, in just a snap or, a second. It's going to be here real quick as time goes fast, usually, and you blink and you miss it. But just very much looking forward to the trip, looking forward to hopefully hearing some good news about some things opening early, or hopefully no more refurbishments for other stuff that wanted to go on or whatever. But I don't know.